Human body consists of 25,000 genes. Your microbiome has 2.5 to 3 million genes. You are outnumbered genetically. With microbiome should be an organ. 90% of your serotonin is being produced in your gut, not in your brain. So when people say, I'm depressed, immediately we think it's in your head. It's not. It's in your gut. We don't call it organ yet, but we will at some point, because that is the whole ecosystem that affects your nervous system, endocrine system, immune system, structural system, you name it. Everything is being affected by it. And you will see today, I'm going to break it down in a very simplified language so you would understand. All right, microbiome. So if you count your cells and if you count the number of cells of microbiome, your microbiome is 38 trillion cells. So you're carrying 38 trillion cells of that material, genetic material, which is not yours. And if you compare it to your cells that makes this flesh is 30 trillion. Even there, you're outnumbered, you see? And also, if you take that microbiome and you weight it and you look at the size, it's the same size and the same weight as your brain. That's why you hear people saying, your microbiome is your second brain. So when you were born, let's start first as an embryo. When you embryo floating around and the fetus floating around mama's belly inside, everything is beautiful. You are sterile inside. Your gut is sterile. You may have one or two, some bacteria, but for the most part, you are sterile. And here comes a birthing part. Now your mama is pushing you out. And if you were coming through vaginal canal, in vaginal canal, you have bacilli, lactobacilli, you have bacteroides. So everything that was there, you get exposed to it. And now your microbiome started. If you're someone who were born through cesarean section, you bypass that. And you get exposed to streptococci, which is not a healthy bacteria. And I'm not against C-sections. I'm OBGYN. I perform C-sections, and I had 2 C-sections myself. You breastfed, you develop different type of microbiome. You formula fed, you develop different type of microbiome. Now you're feeding the bacteria that you just ingested, and it's growing, slowly growing and building. That's why we don't give steak to a newborn babies. We don't, because microbiome is not ready. That's why we slowly, gradually gave them food so they would get used to it. Now you're grown up. You're growing, and in your childhood, maybe you had some antibiotics because you had ear infection. You, as a teenager, you started drinking, you started smoking, you started eating crap. At the age of 21, you have different microbiome versus someone who was eating healthy, eating organic, didn't smoke, didn't drink, not that much of antibiotics in their life. Their microbiome will be healthier. And then you grow older and older, and this microbiome, which is now we're talking healthy versus not healthy microbiome, which carries what? Carries pathogenic bacteria, bad bacteria, and we're going to talk about them. They keep increasing in size. And now we're going to have to talk about how these bacteria change your life. Change literally changes your life because it changes your metabolism. It changes your hormone regulation. It changes your behavior. It changes your emotions. It changes your reactivity to external world. And if you that way, then the pathways in your life, the doors opening in the different directions. If you're reactive, you're going to step into trouble, and you're closing certain doors and opportunities in your life, and vice versa. So microbiome is actually truly rules your life. And you ask, then what should we do? How can we manage all of that? What affects our bacteria? Let's just talk about this good bacteria, what affects the good bacteria and how to nurture it. And then let's talk about the opportunistic bacteria, different bacteria that also can create opposite reaction in your body. In order for you to have good bacteria, I'm not saying you should avoid. If you have to be on antibiotics, you go on antibiotics. You take it. You have pneumonia. You have UTI. You have to be on antibiotics, but you have to be mindful after you. Once you took your antibiotics, you have to be mindful about your microbiome. Okay, you have to make sure it's not only taking probiotics, it's eating prebiotics. And I'll tell you why it's important. Probiotics versus prebiotics. I will explain the difference between them. So, fiber is very important. Fiber, resistant starches. What's resistant starches? Let me explain. If you eat carbohydrates like potato or oatmeal or rice or whatever it is, for those who carry insulin and sugar spike monitor, you will see there will be immediate spike. If you take the same potato or rice, cool it, and then eat it, it will not give you any spikes. So that's called resistant starches. And this is what good microbiome loves. When you eat the same potato hot, just cooked and hot, you are killing the good bacteria. With the same potato, by cooling it and eating it, you're nurturing it. See the difference? And we call them resistant starches. Olive oil. There is something in olive oil. I'm talking about good, clean, virgin, healthy olive oil, organic olive oil. There is a lot of substances that we found, gene regulators that we found, that when you ingest that, you turn on specific genes. For example, vitamin C is considered essential vitamins. You have to take vitamin C from outside. If you won't, what's going to happen? You're going to develop scurvy eventually. Okay? But did you know that in your body, you do have a gene to produce your own natural vitamin C? With evolution, we mutated that gene. Almost all of us. We mutated that gene. And now we develop scurvy if we don't get vitamin C from outside. Olive oil has a substance that goes in and turns on that gene. So if you take a shot of olive oil every morning, you will be able to turn it off, not just once, it has to be at least 3 to 6 months. And this is when you turn on your own natural vitamin C. And you will start seeing in your face, you will start seeing in your body, in your muscles, on your skin, especially for those who have dark spots, aging spots, we say. Aging spots are actually liver spots. These are liver spots. This is congestion of the liver and deficiencies in that vitamin C. You will start seeing that this liver spots start disappearing. Check it for yourself. Try it. But it's not going to happen overnight. It has to happen over 3 to 6 months to rebuild the dysbiosis and put it into a balanced biological ecosystem. It takes at least 3 to 6 months. Depends on how bad it is. In my case, when I had horrible autoimmunity, it took me a year with fasting, with strict diets and all of that to finally rebuild my microbiome. But at the same time, it takes a long time to screw it over. So let's say if your microbiome is healthy and you ate something or you drank alcohol, you did something that is not good for you, you're not going to have it immediately. Yeah, you're going to feel a little bit of bloated and then next day you're fine. But if you're going to keep doing that over time, you will kill that good bacteria in your body. Fasting, the reason why fasting works, and we're not talking about 24-hour fasting, and I'll tell you why. Bad bacteria cannot survive without food for more than 36, 48 hours. Good bacteria can survive up to 21 days, 7 to 21 days. So when you fasting, good bacteria with their antenna, they're communicating with your body. They know how to stay in that state and just be okay with that. Bad guys, you eliminating them. So doing 36-hour, 48-hour fast is the easiest way to reset your microbiome. And another thing is very important to keep your bacteria happy: movement. Movements like jumping, movements, sitting, squatting, by the way. Squatting is the best way to reset your microbiome. There is a specific exercises for those who are gladiators. They remember when I say breathe in that embryonic state, embryo pose, and you breathe breath of fire. This is when you stimulate your yogic say internal fire. But what you're doing, you're actually stimulating your microbiome. So the movement, breathing, cold exposure, all these things, that's why they're good for you, because they're feeding. Every time when you do this, just remember the image of little things sitting with the antennas and trying to help you. Just remember that image. They're so precious. And every time when you're drinking your alcohol, I'm not putting in any guilt on you guys. Guilt is the worst vibration. Don't do that. I'm not doing this. It's just for you just to look at the whole picture. And every time when you smoke, and by the way, even if you smoke things like, marijuana, and you think it's good for you, no, you're actually killing some good bacteria, just for you to understand. Ayahuasca. If someone is doing ayahuasca, you're resetting microbiome. And if you're doing more than supposed to do, like too frequent, this is when you develop what? Psychosis. Why? Because you're affecting your microbiome. Balance is everything. That's why it has to be done under supervision. You see, all the psychedelics, you can't just go and do it. Oh, I'm going to have to go and see some visions. I need questions. I need answers for my questions. I need inspiration. I need this and that. That's all good. But do it wisely. Do it consciously. Do it with respect to your body, to plant medicine, into the universe. Be respectful. Sugar, processed food, alcohol, drugs, antibiotics, and recreational things that we use, they affect your microbiome. Chronic stress affects your microbiome big time. Frequent traveling, especially across the globe, it affects your microbiome. And when you travel, you have to be mindful about this. How many times patients come to my office bloated, have cysts, oh, I've been traveling, and or have yeast infection, whatever it is. It's because of that. It does affect your microbiome. And of course, stress, cortisol, number one. Chronic stress. It's not like just one day stress. I'm talking about chronic, low-grade stress, when you don't have enough sleep, when you have to push through, when you have to just keep going and going, and when you're not watching your thoughts and you constantly complaining inside. This is low-grade misery. And what it's doing, it's just slowly releasing the toxins and killing all these beautiful, intelligent little antenna creatures that actually came into your body to help you to grow and live longer. So that's why paying attention to your mental state is so important. Your emotional state is so important. And we're going to have one big talk about that too, how to do it. Probiotics. Let's talk about that. Probiotics versus prebiotics. Supplement probiotic has a formula that consists of specific good bacteria with those little antennas. Okay. The problem is that today we can produce probably 200, maybe 500 species of these good bacteria. It's just the truth. Okay. Yes, we can have billions and billions of these, but it's the same, like a different species, 500. your body has more than 2 million species of that good bacteria. So it's practically impossible to replace all of them. So what do you do? So what you do, you can take it if it works, if it helps you. Some people take it and they immediately feel great. They go to the bathroom. If you're a woman and have vaginal problems go away. Take it. I'm not saying don't. But you have to keep in mind that it's not it. Because there is a thing called prebiotic. Prebiotics are the foods for these good bacteria. So when you take prebiotics, when you take food that this bacteria loves, this is what works the best, in addition to what you're taking, or if you're not taking anything. And prebiotics are, we just spoke about this, olive oil is prebiotic. Cooked potato is prebiotic. Kimchi, yogurt, and all other things are prebiotic. And then people say, okay, cheese is prebiotic. I'm going to eat cheese. Slow down on that one. Because cheeses have also specific fungi, mold. And that one can create problems. So you really have to be careful with all these prebiotic things. But the best prebiotic, the best is fiber. Fiber. So better to eat whole foods. Bitter herbs. Flaxseed has omega-3, which is so important. That's why I drink omega-3 oils, Zinzino. Omega-3 and has fiber in there. And has so many other proteins and the mucousy materials and everything that helps to cleanse your body and move your stool through your GI tract. You're never going to go wrong with flaxseed. You're never going to go wrong with bitter herbs. Dandelion is one of the best. At that time when I was healing myself, I did not have all these available resources that I have today, like supplements. I was still searching and looking. But I'm telling you, all I did is dandelion, green dandelion leaves, not a root, fresh dandelion leaves, put in NutriBullet, a little bit of ginger, just a tiny bit of ginger, and one whole peeled lemon. Lots of water, drain it, strain it, take the water out, 1 liter, drink it all at once in the morning. I healed my body with dandelion. Kefir is great. Make sure it's not with sugar. Make sure it's real kefir with the real microbes in there. Another really good thing for microbiome, early in the morning, clarified butter, ghee. You take clarified butter, put in hot water, and drink it. Yogis call it rasa. Rasa means the nectar of life. So let's just summarize. Your gut is your second brain. The gut is the communicator and is executor of your genetics. And your gut needs to be fed and taken care of. And you have to protect your gut. Next time, we're going to talk about mitochondria, or I love to call it mitochondria, and you will see why I call it that way. Then we're going to talk about emotions. So slowly, you're going to grow wiser. And at the end of the program, once you finish, at the end of the year, you will be a profi. You're going to be able to read your own DNA and maybe even read your friend's DNA. And again, this is not a final talk about microbiome. We have a whole year ahead of us. It's a long marathon. We're going to be talking about this more in details because a lot of you have your microbiome already done. So now you're going to look at your results differently. And if you have any questions, you can always go in Rustamova AI and then put whatever on your biome, whatever came red, just highlight it and then put in there and say, can you please explain? And Rustamova AI will explain everything in details, okay? Including how to grow it, if it's a good bacteria, how to make it less if it's bad bacteria. Please do that. She's pretty good at it. I tried. I tested her several times. She gives good answers. That was amazing. Amazing group of intelligent people. Love it. Next one is mitochondria. That's another very important, very, very important component of your foundation of your being. And then after that, we're going to talk about your emotions and your subconscious and your psyche. And then after that, we're going to talk about energy, your kundalini, your toric field. So it's to be continued. I love you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.